Hey guys, it's Bobby aka Paginator, and today we're doing a book tag. This is one that I just found online. I was looking for a book tag to do, and this is called the Art of Books tag, and it basically has questions based around different art supplies. I am an artist. I love books. I feel like this works. Okay, so the first question is colored pencils or layering. What book has several complex layers to the plot? Now there's tons of books out there that have lots of layers to the plot. I wanted to choose one that I haven't talked about in a while, and that is Master of One. This is by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett, and they are spouses, I believe. And they wrote this while one of them was going through cancer, which is kind of crazy. But I'm going to read the plot synopsis because I just tend to do better if I can read it to you most of the time. Keep my fingers crossed. So this says, life in the Queen City isn't easy, especially for a two-bit thief like Rags. When his latest score goes sideways, he's nabbed by a royal sorcerer, Maureen the Last, who forces him to steal the 6 pieces of an immeasurably powerful ancient Fey relic. Rags is still determined to somehow get away unscathed until he discovers that the relics Maureen is after are actually people. A distractingly handsome Fey prince who has been asleep for centuries, a Queensguard deserter with more honor than common sense, a daughter of a disgraced noble family who hits first and asks questions later, a deceptively sweet-natured prince, a member of the underground resistance, neither trusting nor trustworthy, and him, Rags. There's no way they can let Maureen enact his dark plan, but 6 misfits against an exceptionally wicked enemy doesn't make for generous odds. Luckily, Rags is not generous, he's smart, and he has a plan that just might work. So some of the multiple layers of the story not only include Rags and this attempt to foil this plan of this evil Maureen, but also the relationship that develops between these people, the ones who are the relics. And there is a slow burn romance in here that's just like, so good. And I remember waiting and waiting for something to happen between those two characters, and just so exciting. But anyway, lots and lots of layers to the plot. It is a chunky book, so you can imagine there's got to be a lot going on anyway, and it is a very, very good read. So again, Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett. The next question is charcoal or graphite blending. And the question says, what is a book where light and dark blend to each side? So I chose Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. This definitely has serious situations with good versus evil, light versus dark. Oh, and it also came with some gorgeous fan art, by the way. Check him out. Woohoo! Anyway, so once again, I'm going to read to you. 2 sisters, 1 murder, a quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself. Amelia and her twin sister Vittoria have been inseparable all their lives. As Strege, I don't know if I'm saying that word right, witches who exist secretly among humans, they know the dangers of drawing attention and work at their family's renowned Sicilian restaurant, avoiding notice and persecution. But one night Victoria doesn't come home, and it's not long before a distraught Amelia discovers the body of her beloved twin, desecrated beyond belief. Devastated, Amelia vows to find her sister's killer and seek vengeance at any cost, even if it means calling upon a dark magic that has been long forbidden. When Amelia meets Wrath, one of the wicked princes of hell she has been warned against since she was a child, Wrath claims to be on Amelia's side, tasked by his master with solving a series of murders on the island, of which Vittoria is the latest victim. Wrath is an amazing character, and Amelia as well. As you can imagine, like making a bargain with the Prince of Hell, definitely you're going to be pulling in those dark things, but also there's a lot more going on with these characters than what you might think at first. So the dark and light thing is definitely involved. Highly recommend that series. Next question, pen and ink, Crosshatching. What is your favorite book series with the most volumes? Do you even need to ask me this question? Harry Potter. Now, I was looking at Throne of Glass too, and it also has 7 volumes, although if you count the Assassin's Blade, which is a prequel, that's technically 8. But I still love Harry Potter more. Look at this cover though. So, if you don't know Harry Potter, what rock have you been living under? Also, that's okay. It is a story about a young wizard named Harry, or a young man named Harry, who learns he's a wizard, and he travels to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and learns to become a wizard, and also fights the forces of evil and makes great friends and enemies. Yeah, I probably didn't need to tell anyone what Harry Potter was, but that's okay. The next question is about markers and or permanence. What is a book that has been permanently drawn in your mind? My favorite book of all time, and which I own multiple copies, Persuasion by Jane Austen. This edition is really cool. It comes with, there's attached inside the book, there's like glassine pouches that have paper replicas of things like Captain Wentworth's letter to Miss Anne Elliot. Right here. So that was it's a fun copy to have. But anyway, if you're unfamiliar, Persuasion is the story of Anne Elliot, who is the unloved daughter of an earl who is financially losing his position. So he decides to let his home to some renters, and he goes to Bath. And Anne is sent off to stay with her sister for a while, and then she ends up joining the family in Bath later and stuff. But really what the heart of the story is Anne's quest to find love, because years before she was in love with this man named Frederick Wentworth, and her rich friend of the family convinced her not to marry him. And she's always regretted it. And he comes back into her life, but isn't in love with her anymore. So how can they fix the situation? Can they at all? Can she persuade herself to give him another chance? Can he persuade himself to give her another chance? Should we allow ourselves to be persuaded by people as to whom we choose to spend our lives with? Probably not. The next question is Acrylic Paint or Vibrancy. What is a book with a vibrant cover or character? I chose one with a very vibrant cover, This Poison Heart by Caleb Bayron. I also really liked the story, and there is a great main character. This is another one I'm going to read to you, because, you know, with Persuasion and Harry Potter, I don't need to read, but pretty much everything else I'm going to be reading to you, so be warned. Okay, strange magic blooms behind a poison gate. Briseis has a gift. With a single touch, she can grow plants from tiny seeds to rich blooms. When Briseis' aunt dies and wills her a dilapidated estate in rural New York, Brie and her parents hope that surrounded by plants and flowers, she will finally learn to control her gift. But their new home is sinister in ways they never expected. It comes with a mysterious set of instructions, a walled garden filled with the deadliest botanicals in the world, and generations of secrets. There's more to Brie's sudden inheritance than she could have imagined, and she is determined to uncover it. Another one that I quite enjoyed, the same author that wrote Cinderella is Dead, which was also quite enjoyable. Yes, and very vibrant colors on this cover. The next one is Watercolor or Wash, and the question is, what book had a transparent plot? Now, I'm not going to choose a book that I think the plot was so transparent that I didn't enjoy it, because I want to talk about books that I enjoyed. I'm thinking that more of this in, like, I know what's going to happen. Once I'm a couple chapters in, I know what's going to happen for the most part, but I still really enjoyed reading it. And that book is How Moon Fuentes Fell in Love with the Universe by Raquel Vasquez Gilliland. And this one says, when her twin sister reached social media stardom, Moon Fuentes accepted her fate as the ugly, unwanted sister hidden in the background, destined to be nothing more than her sister's camera woman. But this summer, Moon also takes a job as the merch girl on a tour bus full of beautiful influencers, and her fate begins to shift in the best way possible. Most notable, of course, is her bunkmate and new nemesis, Santiago Phillips, who is grumpy, combative, and also the hottest guy Moon has ever seen. Moon is certain she hates Santiago and certain he hates her back, but as chance and destiny, and maybe probably close proximity, bringing the two of them in each other's perpetual paths, Moon starts to wonder if that's really true. She even starts to question her destiny as the unnoticed, unloved wallflower she always thought she was. So, I mean, even just from the synopsis, you know how the romance is going to go in this book, and it was very enjoyable. I don't know that I would pick it up again necessarily, maybe I would. I enjoyed it the first time around, but I have so many books that I still have yet to read. I don't really reread a whole lot. So yes, I knew where the story was going, but it was still well worth the read for me. Up next, we have oil paint or texture. Name a character or creature that you remember vividly because of how well they were described. So I am going to go with the book Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is a book that I have a great personal attachment to, especially this actual physical copy of it. It is signed to me by Marissa Meyer, and it was one of the very first author events hosted by my favorite bookstore, The King's English, that I ever went to. And I got to be very first in a signing line through a happy trick of luck. And she wrote in there, "To Bobby, we're all mad here, Marissa Meyer." I will show you that there. Speaking of Marissa Meyer, she does have a podcast that is great. She interviews young adult book authors, and it's really fun to listen to. But back to this book. So Heartless is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, but from the point of view of the woman who eventually becomes the Red Queen. Catherine, who is the great character that I remember very well, maybe one of the most desired girls in Wonderland and a favorite of the unmarried king, but her interests lie elsewhere. A talented baker, she wants to open a shop and create delectable pastries, but for her mother, such a goal is unthinkable for a woman who could be a queen. At a royal ball where Kath is expected to receive the king's marriage proposal, she meets handsome and mysterious Jest. For the first time, she feels the pull of true attraction. At the risk of offending the king and infuriating her parents, she and Jest enter into a secret courtship. Kath is determined to choose her own destiny, but in a land thriving with magic, madness, and monsters, fate has other plans. I also very vividly remember certain scenes from this book, and Jest also is another character that I remember very well. So, if you haven't read Heartless, I highly recommend picking it up. It is a very fun retelling. The next one is digital paintings or new age media. What is your favorite new release book? So I don't know if I could say this is truly my favorite new release book, but it is one that's still pretty dang new, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm just going to check the copyright date on here and see if I'm deluding myself. So it did come out in 2023, so it's not like brand new, but compared to the grand scheme of books, yeah, it's still new. And that is Queen Bee. It is by Emily Howard. It is, if you like Bridgerton, I think you would like this book. It is Regency era. It's also a bit of a retelling of the Count of Monte Cristo, because we have a main character who has been severely wronged, and I'm not going to tell you exactly how because that's going to spoil some things in the book. But she has been very, very wronged, and she is kind of created a new identity for herself and is going to come back to the season, be part of the town, and hopefully exact her revenge on those who wronged her. So in order to help avoid spoilers, I'm not going to read the inside of the dust jacket synopsis to you on this one, but just know, like, Lady Ayla Dalby is our main character, and she has a very detailed plan on exacting her revenge, and we'll see if she's able to carry it out. The next question is canvas or blank canvas. What book had the best original ideas? So I'm going to give you a caveat before I show you what the book is. The author of this book has said that some of her work is inspired by different aspects of her heritage, which is Chinese, Japanese, and Irish. And there could be some things in here that aren't as original ideas as I think they are, but because I'm just sadly lacking in culture. So please forgive my ignorance. But anyway, I'm going to read the dust jacket synopsis, and then I'll tell you why I believe it's a great original idea kind of book. The principal rule of alchemy: you cannot create good without also creating evil. Zelan dreams of becoming a royal alchemist, escaping her impoverished village in southern China to make alchemical gold for the wealthy so they can stay young forever. But for now, she scrapes a living practicing an illegal form of alchemy, resurrecting the dead for a price. Then Zelan is offered the chance to travel to the capital and complete the imperial exams, facing a series of dangerous tasks that she'll be lucky to survive, let alone pass. The closer Zelan gets to her goal, the more she is caught in the deadly games of the royal family, especially when the crown prince seeks her help, suspecting a coming assassination attempt. There are monsters lurking within the palace walls, and it's only a matter of time before they and secrets of Zelan's past catch up with her. So it is, I felt it was very original in the way that it has the alchemical and magical systems working. You have to have certain stones and jewels and things in order to make the alchemy work, and Xelon is brought to the capital to compete, which isn't necessarily a new trope like, you know, Hunger Games, Katniss goes to the capital, compete, that kind of thing. But in this one, it's done in a way that's very different than from some of those other books that we've seen, and I don't want to tell you too much to spoil it. I also want to mention, again, there is like kind of like a relationship build up between her and the prince, which again is not a new thing, but in the way it's done, it felt very fresh and new to me. So that is The Scarlet Alchemist by Kylie Lee Baker. Did I tell you the title before I read the synopsis? I don't know if I did. If not, I am so sorry. It was a long day at school today. Next, our art supply is paper or scrap paper. What book should have been scrap paper and reworked? So I'm going to be putting up a picture of this one because I don't have my copy of it anymore. I didn't want it. And I'm like 90% sure I've talked about this book on my channel before, so please bear with me. I'll try not to be too ranty. So this is Wish of the Wicked by Danielle Page, which was really disappointing to me because I like Danielle Page's other books so much. This was supposed to be a fairy godmother retelling, you know, the fairy godmother from Cinderella, and it absolutely was not. And there were whole passages, like pages and pages, that were copied word for word from the prologue and then appeared later in the chapter. You couldn't even reword it a little bit, like, I don't know. And there were so many plot holes and just things that were left unexplained that I feel like this wasn't really put through the entire process of editing, or I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it definitely needs some more work because it has great potential. Like fairy tale, like fairy godmother, yes, give me the retelling, but please work a little bit more on it. Don't yell at me. And lastly for the tag is just to tag someone else. So I'm going to be tagging Janie over at the Crafting Bookworm, and that's all. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this tag, and have a wonderful, magical, and bookish day. Happy reading. Adios.